Hi guys, this is gsnom.com with yet another unboxing of the Motorola Moto G50. This is an affordable 5G handset which fits right between the Moto G30 and the G100. It actually borrows the screen from the G30 with 90Hz refresh rate, has a triple camera and, well, 5G. With a new processor we haven't tested before, so up until now Qualcomm had the bottom 5G CPU Snapdragon 690. Now it's Snapdragon 480 which is available inside here. As usual, Moto bundles the phone with a case which is transparent and flexible, and the backside reminds me of the Moto G9 series a little bit. The phone is made of plastic and I'm firing it up right now. There will be no delay, we've already done the setup, so let's start with the actual unboxing as the phone boots up. Here we have the usual accessories, and I'm going to start with the key used to access the slots, the manual and juridic info. I should probably also mention that the phone is priced at around $230, which is quite affordable for a 5G mid-range handset, even though it has the lowest end Qualcomm Snapdragon 5G CPU. Unveiled in April, this is a pretty fresh product. And back to the unboxing. In the box we have this cable which goes from USB-C to USB-A and connects to this charger here with an USB-A connector. Sadly, it can only juice up the phone up to 10 watts, even though its actual battery can go up to 15 watts. So there's that. Headphones would have fit here nicely, but not the case. Okay, so this is the actual phone. It has the old school teardrop notch and a pretty big chin. It actually reminds me that it's battling the Samsung Galaxy A32 5G on account of the design and the specs. Okay, so the colors are steel gray and aura green. I'm guessing this is steel gray, even though in my book it's basically blue. Catches the night in a pretty nice fashion, and it's hugely ergonomic, one of the best ergonomics I've seen in recent history for a handset which I have played with. There are two tiers to this ergonomics. There's the rounded backside, which fits in your palm better, and the flat edges, which also help with the grip. So when it comes to grip, this one definitely knows what it's doing. Plastic body, glossy body, comfy grip, not side placed, but rather back placed fingerprint scanner, which you can see here, and a familiar camera module seen on the Moto G9 series. As usual, Moto is throwing us a water repellent coating on the device, which is nice to see. And on the right side, we're getting the power button, volume buttons, and an extra physical button, which I'm pretty sure triggers Google Assistant, which indeed it did. Now, if you want to talk about the measurements, they aren't small. It's a 9mm thick phone, even though it doesn't feel too beefy. It weighs 192 grams, which is still pretty decent as far as a phone with, I would say, a decently large battery is concerned. And now I think it's time to discuss the screen. What we're dealing with here is an IPS LCD with a 6.5-inch diagonal and an HD plus resolution, there's the whole 90Hz refresh rate, and 20:9 aspect ratio, and a teardrop notch at the top side as a standout point. Now, the party starts at the inside of the phone, where we have the brand new CPU, which is shown here by the IDA app. Qualcomm Snapdragon 480 5G. It's an 8nm CPU, an octa-core setup. It's got the Adreno 619 GPU, and it's not alone, it's accompanied by 4 gigs of RAM as well as 64 gigabytes of storage. There's also a version with double that amount. Luckily, the microSD card slot goes up to 1 terabyte in hosting, extra hosting provided for you. Now, the battery here is a 5000 mAh unit, and on a connectivity front, I actually saw the settings app here. On the connectivity front, we have all it takes. We got your 4G, 5G, there's Wi-Fi dual band, there's Bluetooth 5.0, there's also GPS, GLONASS and Galileo, there's an USB-C 2.0 port at the bottom. We also have an audio jack, and I'm not very sure if you have NFC or not. I actually am seeing NFC here, so it's available, which is good news for those who want to make payments with the phone. On the camera front, I'll keep things pretty light, so we start off with this teardrop notch here, which hosts a 13-megapixel shooter, and at the back side there is a triple camera setup with the promise of quad pixel technology. What is quad pixel? It's pretty basic. Got a main 48-megapixel camera, which combines 4 pixels in one and offers you 12-megapixel shots. There's f1.7 aperture, a 5 megapixel macro camera, and as well a 2 megapixel bokeh shooter for your portrait needs. There's the LED flash. There's only Full HD capture here, but it goes up to 60 frames per second. And let's actually show you some of the modes that this device has available. I actually use the fingerprint unlock now, which before wasn't pretty snappy, as you may have noticed. The interface is just as we left it on the Moto G100. You can switch to macro. There's no ultra wide, there's no telephoto. Here you can switch to extra options. We have active photos, which are like moving photos, which were cool on the iPhone a few years ago, and quite a few modes: spot color, panorama, pro, cutout, cinematograph, portrait, night vision, and group selfie. You can also film in HD at 120 frames per second, and this is the video section. You can tweak the resolution from here, or better set the frame rate, 30 or 60 frames per second, microphone on or off, and even a stabilization option makes the cut. And you also have some extra video options: spot color, time-lapse, and slow motion. I would say that's about it, but that's not enough. We actually have more to talk about. On the software front, it's obviously a clean software here. We're running on Android 11 with a clean and stock interface on top. And you can customize it by using the Moto app. You access it from here. And you can customize things like fonts, colors, icon shapes, and so forth. You can see some of them here: font, color, icon shape, and layout. And as you can see, I'm using the swipes as navigation method instead of buttons. There are the extra gestures found here, also seen on other Moto phones. And finally, display features: big display and attentive display, and the gaming options like game time, extra audio effects, and more. Of course, I won't insist too much on them. We have the review to reveal all of these. So this is it from gsno.com. This was the first contact with the phone. I have to say that I have seen similar phones to it in battery, processing power, screen, but this one is definitely the most ergonomic of the bunch of mid-range affordable 5G handsets. The screen is the one which feels a bit lacking at first sight, but I will be testing it and get back with more to you. I'm very curious about the Snapdragon 4XX series because it was generally a modest series of CPUs, but this time it feels like a more powerful processor than usual. Remember the price, around $230 to $250. We'll be back with a full review very soon for the Moto G50. Bye bye.